Hey everybody, in this lesson I'm going to talk about the major scale. The major scale is one of the easiest scales to learn, and it's one of the most basic ones. Now on the website www.davesguitarstudio.com I have charts for all the different chords and scales I talk about in these video lessons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the scale straight through, then I'm going to break it down one by one so you can see how it looks on the guitar neck. And then after that, I'm going to try to show you a couple of exercises that'll help really burn the scale into your memory, because when you begin to start soloing, you really need to have the scale burned into your head. You have to know right where your fingers are going to go. So here we go. We're going to start by just playing it through at very first here. So here's the major scale. Okay, so that's the major scale. That's what it sounds like played through. So now I'm going to break it down one by one. On the E string, on the 3rd fret, okay, E string 3rd fret. So we're going to start going up. So we go 3rd, 5th, then we skip to the A string on the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 5th, then we skip down to the D string on the 2nd, to the 4th, to the 5th, then we skip down to the G string and we go down to the 2nd, to the 4th, to the 5th, then we go down to the B string on the 3rd, to the 5th, then we go down to the E string at the 2nd, to the 3rd. So again, this is what it sounds like all together. And when you're playing these scales, you really want to, as you're going through them, you want to try to keep the proper fingerings. So you don't want to just be using one finger while you're going through. You really want to set your fingers, like I'm going to set mine here. And so like my first finger on the 2nd, my middle finger on the 3rd, my ring finger on the 4th, and my pinky to the 5th. So anything that falls in that, I'm going to play that with those fingers as I climb through the scale. That's kind of keeping it in proper finger technique there. So here we go. You can climb, and then climb it down as well. Okay, so that's the major scale. So now what I'm going to try to do is show you a couple of things that will help you to commit it to memory. First and foremost is this. Now I'm not going to break absolutely everything down. You can stop and rewind the video. But here we go. Okay, so when we get up to here, to this note, if you notice our start point, see, we've reached an octave. So we've climbed all the way through the notes so that this matches this now. Okay? So what you do is practice going up to that octave and then coming back down. Okay? And you just climb it and go back down. Now we can start with that octave that's in the center, okay? Now if we look down, the end of the scale is the next octave. So here's our root note on the 3rd on the E string. Here's the octave in the middle, and here's the octave at the very end of the scale on the high E string. So same goes for, you know, the octave climbing from the beginning to the middle. Now climb from the middle octave to the end octave. And then back down. Okay, so that's one way, climbing and finding the mid octave and climbing up and down, you know, from the low to the mid octave and then from the middle octave up to the end of the scale there. Okay, so. So, in the next little tip I wanted to give you, I'm just going to play it through, then I'll kind of explain it a little bit. And it kind of helps you remember where everything is, and gives you a feel for the scale. So here we go. So, and when we do that and climb down, and again, you can use this climb down technique to go from the high octave to the middle octave, and then start at the middle octave and climb down. So up here at the very end of the scale, we're on the E string on the 3rd fret, okay? So we go from this one to the B string on the 5th fret, so, and then we go to the 2nd fret on the E. Then we go down to the 3rd fret on the B. So I'll play that through again. Okay, so now when you have your fingers here, okay, and then you climb with that same kind of pattern going down. You start on 1, okay, so and again, you can start from the middle octave. And then start from your high octave and go down to the center and stop at the center. Okay, so that's the major scale. I'll play it through one more time. And as time goes on with the lessons, we're going to get into more scales, more chords, and eventually I'll be teaching how to, help with soloing, and eventually how to combine more than one scale together in a solo. But that's down the road. So, I hope this was helpful. And again, check out my website. It's www.davesguitarstudio.com.